Hello, everyone. I hope you all are doing fantastically well today. I have a very important topic that I want to discuss with you, and that is how to lead under pressure. I want to know from you, have you ever been in a situation as a woman in leadership where you have felt a lot of pressure and it was a bit difficult to be able to manage your emotions, manage making decisions, or perhaps you just had something come up that was very, 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 very stressful. Well, in this video, I want to share with you some strategies that have actually helped myself and helped a lot of my clients be able to manage and lead under pressure. So I have a presentation I want to share with you all today. It has a lot of great strategies that will absolutely help you be able to lead under pressure and show you how you can remain calm, clear in your thoughts, and in control when these situations come up. Now, I want to start this by saying that oftentimes we're not really taught how to do this. And I'm getting everything set up now so that you can see my slides. And to make sure everybody can everybody see the slides? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, fantastic. Let me make it into full screen so we can get started. Alrighty. So when you are able to lead under pressure, you can develop a very, very, very strong executive presence that really helps people to listen, trust, and respect you. So, we're going to talk about this during our event today. So, the first strategy that I want to share with you as it relates to learning how to lead under pressure is that stamina is built, not borrowed. Now, before you click off this video, because you're wondering what in the world does this strategy have to do with anything related to leading under pressure, give me just a few moments to explain. Leadership under pressure is not a gift, it's a skill that is developed through repeated exposure, repeated instances, and circumstances that come up. There's a lot of videos here on YouTube that talk about managing difficult situations and conflicts, etc. And there's some good information out there. And there's some information that is a bit of theory, but there's not that real world component that I offer to my audience for them to understand what this really can look like for you if you're trying to lead under pressure. What I have found is that many times leaders are placed in situations that may be very challenging. And I encourage you all to not shy away from those challenges, because the way that you are able to enhance your leadership skills and really start to build that leadership stamina in the way that you need it to be built is by being present, dealing with those hard situations, dealing with those complex projects that nobody else really wants to deal with. This is the best way for you to learn. Just like the image of this runner, she has to build up her stamina in order to run a long distance or wherever she's trying to go. So it's not something that you can just look up online and read it and borrow information from someone and say, this is the way that I'm going to lead under pressure. You need to have those real world experiences in terms of how to actually do this. And the best way is to make sure that you are being given those opportunities that will allow you to learn, become a bit challenged, and will help you be able to accelerate your career growth. Let me give you an example. So many years ago, I had a project that was going on, and it was a pretty large project. And within a 2 hour time frame, the following things happened. I had a critical issue with the project that was going to prevent the project from moving forward. And this project was over $500,000. I had an issue with an employee where something happened and I had to take care of it immediately. I had a problem with my boss because there was a disagreement with something, and I had another issue with a coworker I was supervising, in addition to having some other issues going on in terms of budgeting that were not planned for. And all of this happened within a 2 hour time period, and it tested my stamina for sure. But after I was able to learn how to build my stamina, when those situations come up constantly, you're being bombarded by this situation, or this circumstance. As a woman in leadership, it makes it a bit easier for you to be able to manage those situations under pressure. Now, the only way for you to really build stamina, this endurance, is to keep showing up even when it's hard. You're going to have those days as a woman in leadership where you simply wish you would have just stayed at home. There's too much going on, there's too much chaos, you don't want to deal with it. But those are the days that I can personally say that will help define your future. When you come in and things are hard and you still show up and you still do your responsibility and you take care of your team and you take care of everything else, those are the days where you start to build that stamina to be able to deal with leadership under pressure. Now, oftentimes what will happen is that sometimes we just don't want to do it because it's too hard. Now, I will make one disclaimer about this. If you're in a situation where it is not healthy, you're not being treated fairly, and it is not working for you, then by all means, no, please do not stay in that situation. But if it is just simply a challenge of your skills and perhaps your strategy and how you're thinking of things, just keep moving, keep doing it, because this will actually help to build your stamina. So when it comes to leading under pressure and how to really be clear in your thoughts and stay calm and in control, practice, practice, practice. Do not shy away from those very hard situations that come up. Go for it, do it, showcase your expertise, and I promise you, you will absolutely be able to start leading under pressure. Now, the second strategy I want to share with you is to assess the situation and triage the fires. These are critical skills that come up when you are trying to present yourself as a woman in leadership. The reason why this is important is that as leaders, there's a lot of things put on our plate at one time. Now, I want to know from you, have you ever been in a situation as a leader where you had at least 5 or 6 people coming to speak to you about an issue within a short amount of time frame? I know personally I've had this happen many times, and if you are new to leadership or seasoned in leadership and you are having a hard time being able to navigate, well, what should I do? What should I focus on? Then this strategy is just for you. The best way for me to explain it to you is to learn how to start quickly processing and triage those fires. So if you have something that's going on and someone demands your attention, and then another person needs your attention and someone else needs your attention, then I have found that if you take a few moments to determine what is the most important task that needs to be completed right now that will allow operations to continue, that should be your priority. Therefore, if you have a situation that comes up that is going to prevent your team from working, that's going to prevent your business from functioning, that is going to prevent your product from being moved from one location to another, depending on the type of industry you're in, or maybe it's going to prevent you from being able to engage with a lot of clients, then that automatically goes at the top of the list of situations you need to deal with first. Now, there may be other circumstances or situations that come up that are equally as important. However, I know that this is something that you have to learn how to do as a leader. And this is a skill that is developed. I had a client of mine before ask me, well, how do you develop that sense of discernment? How do you understand what you need to deal with and what you don't need to deal with initially when it happens? And I explained to her that you have to understand the big picture, understand the operational side of things. What will prevent your business from moving forward? And that is always going to be the first fire that you want to deal with. Now, I want to also mention this as well. I have a really, really great algorithm, I would say, that I do that will help you to assess and prioritize under pressure. What's urgent? What's blocking progress? and what can wait. Now, I will tell you personally, I've had a lot of situations come up that have been fires, big fires, that I need to deal with. And some of them, I just had to let them go. I had to let them go for the day. I had to revisit them tomorrow, or I had to have a conversation the following day or a week later, depending on how big the fire is. And there's times where there may be emails that I simply do not have the ability or the time to respond to because I have something that is completely impacting my operations for my organization, my business, or a company. And you want to keep that in mind because there has to be some type of way for you to prioritize. So whenever you have this situation come up and you're trying to figure out like what is it you want to do, I have so many things. I don't know what to start with first. It's just too much. Take a breath and use this mantra. Pause, prioritize, and proceed. As soon as you take a moment to think, which of these issues, situations, circumstances, problems is preventing my business from moving forward, is preventing me from generating revenue, is preventing me from being able to address a specific issue, then determine what is at the top. Go for what is going to impact your operations and prevent you from functioning or prevent your team from functioning. Then proceed with that one. Everything else can be smaller fires that are burning, but you have to put out the main one first because the main fire will completely engulf you and engulf your business and engulf your team. And you do not want that if you are presenting yourself as a leader who can lead under pressure. Now, I want to know from you, which of these strategies so far do you like the best? Do you like strategy one or strategy two? Put it in the comments below and let me know which strategy resonates more with you. I have two more strategies for you that will help you to learn how to lead under pressure. Now, the third strategy is to communicate with clarity. Now, how you speak to other people, your tone of voice, your body language, your facial expressions are critically important when you are under pressure. In a lot of pressure filled moments, communication must be brief, it has to be clear, you have to be confident, even when you are still figuring things out. Now, this is a question that I want to know from you. Have you ever been in a situation as a leader where you had to speak to your team and you didn't know all the answers? Has it ever happened? Or have you seen this happen to a leader when they didn't know the answers and you're waiting to hear what they had to say? Now, I'm sure you probably have experienced both scenarios where you've seen how communicating with clarity has worked really well and how communicating without clarity has not worked well. How you communicate under pressure will automatically allow your team to see your executive presence, allow them to trust you, and to listen to what you have to say. So, how you speak really does matter. Now, I will give you a specific script that you're welcome to use at any point in time when this situation comes up, when you have a crisis situation or a critical issue and you need to respond, but you're not sure about all the information, or maybe you perhaps have not had the chance to review all the information or it hasn't been provided to you just yet, but you have a team you have to communicate that to. Now, what I have done in the past is I have made decisions based on the information that I have. I'm going to say that again. I have made decisions based off the information that I had. I say this because oftentimes we get into a panic state as leaders and we tend to freeze when there's information overload and we don't know what to do and you're not really quite sure of what to say. And this can happen, but if you are following me on any of my social media accounts, or even subscribe to my YouTube channel, you will learn how to manage these situations. And what I have told my clients in the past to do, and what I'm sharing with you to do in terms of a script, would be when you have those situations and you have to present to your team, say the following. Based on the information that I have at this time, this is the best path for us to move forward. Now, sometimes things will happen and you may have to backtrack or may have to go in a different direction. And you know what? That's okay, because you are making a decision based on the information that you have in front of you right now. That information could very well change, and you are not sure of what that change will be until it actually happens. So, as long as you are able to articulate, this is what you know, this is the best path moving forward based on the information I have. If something changes, I will let you all know. That communicates leadership. If you speak to your audience and say, you know what, I have no idea. I'm not sure what we're going to do. And I don't know what the best path to move forward is. Your audience is not going to trust you. They're not going to listen to you. And they're going to think, well, she doesn't even have it figured out. So we're just going to do our own thing. And that's exactly the moment when your executive presence takes a hit. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen. As I mentioned to you at the very beginning, there's a lot of theory out there in the world. And I'm here to give you real world advice and tell you exactly what's going to happen if you're not able to communicate with clarity when you are leading under pressure. People will figure out their own way of completing a task, dealing with the issue that will be out of alignment in terms of your vision for your organization or your business or your team, and they will have their own inner workings that are separate from yours. And what the problem I've seen that happens a lot of times when these situations come up is that the leader has a moment where they just panic, where they don't know what to say, they don't know what to do, they're not able to communicate with clarity. The team sees it, they pick up on the energy and they say, she doesn't know what she's talking about. Guess what, guys? We got to figure this out ourselves. They will figure out their own thing. And then the leader takes a breath and steps into leader mode and is able to regain their confidence back, regain their clarity back, and then they communicate with the team. This is what we're going to do. And the team will look at the leader and say, well, we already got it figured out. And so there's this constant struggle between what is being instructed by the leader for the team to do versus what the team has already figured out. So you want to be that leader. Leadership is being able to guide and help your team through good times and bad times. And you want to make sure that you are able to do that, or that will impact your executive presence, that will impact your leadership, and it will show your team that you are not able to lead under pressure. Now, another thing I want to mention to you about communicating with clarity that is critically important as you are leading under pressure is your tone of voice. You will need to master this. And if you need some help mastering this, or you're struggling with this, then you're not alone. This happens to the best of us. I will help you be able to not have this so much of an issue for you moving forward. And that is, you should communicate the same way, the same tone of voice, whether the sun is shining outside, the birds are chirping, the sky is clear. You will need to communicate the same way when there's a hailstorm outside, there's thunderstorms going on, lightning bolts, and rain. People need to see that same consistent leader every single time, regardless of the situation, whether it's good or whether it might be a bit more challenging. These are the visual perceptions that your team picks up on. And when they see you are consistent, that you are keeping things clear, you are calm, and you are in control of the situation, they will start to trust you. And that is a part of building up that stamina to help you be able to lead under pressure. Now, here is what you can do to practice this. Start to gain control of your emotions. When you have very heated situations that come up in your workplace or in your business or in other situations, find out what that method of regulation or help with calming you down that you need to have personally that will help you be able to reflect in a very positive way to other people. You may need to take a moment and go somewhere else. You may need to find a quiet space just to think. You may need to get a sip of water. You may need to get a sip of juice. You may need to do something. But find out whatever that thing is or activity is that you need to do before you react emotionally. Sometimes you might be in the middle of a situation and you don't have that time to respond. This is where that stamina comes into play. The more times you've been in situations where it's been very contentious or it's been a bit challenging, you will be able to manage those situations and not respond in an emotional way. Now, I'm going into the last strategy, and I want to know from you. So far, we've went through 3. So which of the 3 strategies do you like the most? Let me know in the chat. And if you have any questions specifically about these strategies, how can you develop them? You know that you want to be an amazing leader, but you really need some help with some of these items and strategies we talked about, then reach out to me for a call. We'll discuss where you are, where you need to be, and I'll share you some insights, some resources and tools in terms of how I can help you to get there. All right, now you ready for the last strategy? The last strategy is going to be recover like a leader. This strategy is critically important because when you have those days where things are going a bit chaotic and you are trying to lead under pressure, you have a lot of fires, you have a lot of things you had to prioritize. As leaders, we just keep going because that's all we know to do. But we don't take that moment to just decompress, debrief, and think about the day. What I encourage leaders to do is to take time and make time for yourself, because burnout happens when you have a constant situation that is taking your time and taking your energy to the point where you are not feeling fulfilled with your life, with your circumstances and situation anymore. But if we take time when these situations happen and you've had those really chaotic days to think about, well, how exactly do I want to manage this situation in the future, or what should I have done differently? It is a great way for you to reflect. Think about what you could have done differently and what you were able to accomplish, what successes you were able to complete, and then allow that to give you a moment of peace so that you can just relax. Sometimes you may need to read a book at the end of a long day. Sometimes you may need to meditate. Sometimes you may need to have just someone else cook you dinner, right? You may need to have something else happen that allows you to exercise or spend time with your family or watch a movie. Whatever the case may be, determine what it is that helps you to relax, because you need those days to relax when you are trying to lead under pressure. When you have those chaotic days, taking just a few moments to decompress will do wonders for you and help you to recover like a leader. Leaders deal with a lot. And I just commend each and every one of you for watching this video, because I know you're trying to elevate your leadership skills to that next advanced level and communicate at a higher level than your peers. We have to take care of ourselves as leaders. I say this analogy all the time, and for those of you who have watched my videos, you know what I'm about to say. Fast forward through it if you don't want to hear it again, but I have to say it, especially for this 4th strategy. Consider when you fly on a plane, and when you're flying on a plane, what happens? The pilot will tell you if something happens to this plane, there's some turbulence or something occurs where we are going to have to do something and make a change. You have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you put it on anyone else. And this is the same type of analogy I want to use for recovering like a leader. You cannot take care of your team. You cannot take care of your business. You cannot take care of your dreams. You cannot take care of your vision. You cannot take care of the big impact you're trying to make on your community, on the world, on your generation, if you're not taking care of yourself. So as leaders, you're going to have those crazy days. Those days will come. I can guarantee you that. But how you manage those days at the end is what really matters. I know personally, when I have very chaotic, crazy days like that, I always take a moment to relax and allow myself to just focus my thoughts on what went well with the day, what did not go well with the day, what could I have done differently to have a more effective or more efficient outcome? And sometimes you may find that you did everything right. You did everything right. You did the best you could. And that is a way for you to recover from the day that you know you did everything right. Sometimes you may say, I could have replied to that message earlier, or I could have spoken to that individual a bit sooner than when I did. I could have dealt with it at that time instead of waiting. And those situations may come up, and that's okay. This is part of leadership. This is part of building that stamina that we talked about that will absolutely help you be able to lead under pressure. So make sure you know that if you are tired, if you're fatigued, it doesn't mean that you're not built for leadership. It means that you are just in it and you are just in the middle of it. Now, I want to recover yourself like a leader. I want you to think about recovering yourself like a leader and think about those activities that you personally need to do that will help you on your journey. So I want to recap. So we talked about 4 different strategies to help you lead under pressure. The first was that stamina is built, not borrowed. The second was to learn to triage the fires. The third was to communicate with clarity. And the fourth was to recover like a leader. Now, I want to share with you that I've been in many situations that have allowed me to be in very friendly and very contentious situations. And I understand what it is like to be a leader and the challenges that you face and the unique challenges that women in leadership face. And I encourage you to ask me any questions. I have over 20 years of experience being a director, a manager, a C-suite executive, executive coach, and a public speaker that will fast track your career success within a short amount of time just by being able to work with me. And I do want to also mention that there's a lot of things that happen in leadership. And I want to know from you, is this something that has happened to you before? Have you been in high stakes situations? Are you dealing with pressure? Are you in a career transition where you're going in a different direction? Maybe you need a new resume because you know that you're trying to elevate and go into a different role and generate more income. Or perhaps you need some practice interviewing. You're not exactly sure what to say, what to do in an interview, or perhaps you might be very seasoned in interviewing, but you're finding that you're applying for positions, you're interviewing, and nothing is happening. That movement is not taking place. Or maybe you just want to develop your leadership skills. So I encourage you that if you're in a season of pressure and you're ready to lead through it instead of just surviving it, I offer personalized executive coaching and leadership coaching to help you build that resilience, executive presence, and clarity in those really tough moments. So I want to know from you, was this information helpful? Which strategy did you like the best? And if you want some additional support, I've got a lot of tools for you as well as it relates to any of these topics. Feel free to reach out to me at info@exciteexcellence.org, or you can also DM me on any of the social media accounts. I spend most of my time on LinkedIn and on Instagram. And ask me any questions that you have, and we'll set up some time to chat and talk about where you are and where you can be. So here's some of the social media channels I mentioned to you that you're welcome to contact me at. And if you're really serious about trying to communicate at a higher level as a leader and be able to manage these very challenging situations that come up, or being in a situation where you can present yourself as that executive with that very, very compelling executive presence, then reach out to me. I will absolutely be able to help you become that leader that you are looking to be. Now, I'm looking forward to hearing back from you and your feedback. And if you have any additional topic suggestions that you want me to discuss, then feel free to let me know. Until the next time, I will see you all in the next video.